Don't buy the lies that what's happening is just normal kid stuff. I don't know how many times I've been told that. But the truth is, it isn't. And how you can tell the difference is the frequency upon which the behaviors occur and the fact that normal parenting techniques do not change the behaviors. You hear these lies from friends, from relatives, from the child themselves. They'll say, well, everybody else is doing this. You hear them from your own head because you want to give good gifts to your children. You want to give to them. But if in your guts you know that you shouldn't let your child do something, don't let them do it. The best gifts that you can give your child, besides love, is protection and planning ahead for them. You need to deal with your feelings of failure. Because a lot of times what's going on, it's not your fault. Part of it is you need to educate yourself in order to move on. And sometimes whatever you do, it doesn't matter. It's not going to help. When things are going good, don't remove the structure. Don't remove the support. All too often, people say, well, things are going okay now. They're okay. They take away that support. They take away that structure. And immediately the child falls back down. They need the structure. They need the support. And as parents, we need to support them. We're now going to enter into the area of transition. As your children become older, around the age of 14, we recommend that you write up a life plan with the child. It's what they want to do in life, where they want to live, who their friends will be, how are they going to keep out of trouble, what are they going to do for a job. It's to write up their goals, and then it's to talk regularly about these, and it's to update them as their skills level change, as their desires change. And when they get in trouble, you pull this back out and you say, hey, this is not helping you move towards your life goals. You need to look at this life plan and we need to use it. It becomes part of their external brain. It helps them to move forward. One of the challenges is the children living on their own. Would you let an 11-year-old live on their own? At the age of 18, many of our children are only developed, have the life skills development of that of an 11-year-old. And they have the social skills of that of a 7-year-old. Well, you wouldn't let an 11-year-old live on their own, and so you need to put a plan in place. Every night, my wife and I tuck each child in and say goodnight to them. Well, one night my wife had gone upstairs before I had, and when she came back, she said when she got to the one boy's room, he wasn't there. So she figured he must be in the next room. And his sheets were missing, and his blankets, and his pillow. So she was going to go in there and tell him to get back in his room. He didn't have permission. Well, she got in the next boy's room, and he wasn't there. So she went back to his room, and she called out his name, and out from under the bed was, yes. So she turned on the light and looked, and there he was. She said, what are you doing under your bed? He said, well, I've been cold lately at night. So I decided to sleep under my bed. And she said, well, okay, but where are your blankets and your sheets and your pillow? He says, oh, I put those downstairs on the floor in front of the washing machine. And he could tell by her face that she was sort of surprised by this answer. So then he added, but I've got my Legos under here to help keep me warm. See, he is not ready to solve life's problems. You see, earlier, if he was cold, he would have come to Mom and Dad. But now he's trying to solve these on his own. Turning 18 is a really hard time on kids with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. According to the University of Washington, and the University of Washington is where it was first diagnosed. It's where all the facts that I talk about, the research has been done. It's the leader in the country. According to them, if a child leaves home between the ages of 18 and 21, they might as well have been brought up in an alcoholic family. Not because they're bad, but they will make poor choices. At the same time, if you can keep them home 30 to 35, their chances of doing good becomes a lot better. What has happened is they get set in their ways. A lot of the problems get answered for them. Those get worked out. It's not that they're bad. It's just that they don't learn from their past. They don't learn from their mistakes. And they get involved with their new, quote, friends who get them into trouble. I know of a kid who is a higher functioning individual. He has a job, he has his own apartment, and he's doing really well. But he's met up with people who like to party, even though he himself does not party, and he can't understand. He gets kicked out of his apartment, he gets robbed, he gets beaten up by people who come to his house to party. And he can't get it. They're his friends, so he doesn't know how to get rid of them. Several years ago, I went to a conference. I was gone for 3 days and 2 nights, and when arriving home, my wife had had it. We only had 5 kids then, but she had just had it. The one boy had just thrown fits continuously the whole time I was gone, and she came to me and said, well, did you learn anything? See, she was looking for that silver bullet. Did you learn anything that'll help? And I said, well, not really, but I did have this thought when someone was speaking. It's not what they said, but it spurred on a thought in my mind. We need to be nicer to this one particular boy so that we make him want to stay home. She looked at me and said, tell me again why I would want him to stay home? Well, the truth is she wants him to stay home because if he leaves, he'll join the 60% who are dead or in prison by the age of 30. There's just no question that that's what will happen. As I say, not because he's bad, but because he'll make bad choices. So you need to plan ahead. You need to get with other parents and plan ahead. Planning ahead is extremely important. So to deal with this, my wife and I, along with some other concerned adults, have created Hayes Kids. We have a 501c3 nonprofit status. We're creating an assisted living center for fetal alcohol adults. We'll be a jobs training center, a jobs creation center, a place where individuals can marry, raise a family, and have a good life. Our staff will be trained in fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, and quality of life will be a concern. We'll be a crafts community. We'll have pottery, we'll have baskets, we'll have rustic furniture, we'll do weaving, and we'll do truck farming. Recreation is a concern. It's really important. Someday we plan on having a retreat center also. A person with FASD could come here for jobs training, and if they like it, and if they agree to obey the rules, if they want to live here, then they could apply for residency. The rules are pretty simple. You must be a team player. You must treat each other with respect. There'll be a dress code. There's no swearing, no alcohol, no street drugs. It's people who want to live a productive life, who want to have a meaningful life, who will stay here. There'll be a lot of structure, and there'll be a lot of supervision. We're not ready to accept people yet, residents yet. We're working on building our infrastructure. Although once we get the gymnasium done and the certified kitchen done, then we do plan on starting to have family weekends. People would come here to learn crafts, and they would come here for trainings and just get together. Another idea would be for parents to get together and to create an adult foster home. It would be so to serve their children once they turn 18. They could stay involved in their children's lives, yet their child would no longer be living under their roof. The parents would have input about the rules and the location of the home. Quality of life would be a priority for the home. The staff would be trained in fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, and the home would be licensed either as a corporate or a family foster home. Therefore, the foster home would take care of most of the red tape. I'm going to plead to you to do something, to plan ahead so that your child does not all of a sudden turn 18 with no plan. I would also like to encourage parents to become involved with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder organizations. Here in northern Minnesota, we have the Northeastern Minnesota FASD program and clinic, where they do not only excellent diagnostic work, they also train other diagnostic teams from throughout the country and also from Canada. There's also ARC Northland, which does Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder advocacy, and they also do excellent trainings. There's RSI, Residential Services Incorporated, out of Duluth, Minnesota, that runs the Brookston Center, which is a fetal alcohol spectrum disorder assisted living center. And then there's other organizations throughout the state. There's MOFAS, Minnesota Organization of Fetal Alcohol Syndrome, and others. But I want to encourage people, wherever they are, whether it's in Minnesota or other states, to become involved with others who are involved in this. You will learn much from them, and you will be able to keep up with what's going on. In conclusion, I'd like you to realize that your child has organic brain damage. A lot of what they do has to do with the organic brain damage. That what you're doing is a very important job, but also a very difficult job, raising your child. One last hint, wear your kids out. We use firewood a lot here. We use 30 cords a year. We also go on bicycle rides, long bicycle rides. We do a lot of physical activity. Fetal alcohol is nothing new. It's just that the society used to be based more on a very physical, very rote jobs. A lot of farming, the factory jobs, and so the citizens with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder got along a lot better. You know, I had a caseworker call me one time, and she had a little girl who was 5 years old, diagnosed with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. The little girl had been in 3 pre-adoptive placements and was getting ready to leave the placement she was now in. And this caseworker said, "What kind of a parent should I be looking for?" Well, I told her she needed to look for parents who would seek a diagnosis, parents who would look for services, who would use respite, who would become part of a support group, who would spend the time to learn parenting techniques specifically for fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, ones which would be calm and ones which would have hope. That's what that little girl needs, and it's what your child needs also. Here at Hayes Kids, we're not only involved in helping to start a fetal alcohol assisted living center, we are also involved in education of persons with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, of their parents, and of caregivers. We are also available to help others start fetal alcohol assisted living centers. Go out and hug your kids and take care of yourselves. Thank you.